Picture, if you will, a grand Victorian home, its drawing rooms aglow with gaslight, its polished surfaces reflecting the flickering flames. In the stillness of the evening, amidst the scent of beeswax and lavender, moves a woman of routine, the housekeeper, armed with a feather duster. She tackles the intricate fretwork and heavy curtains, ensuring that every surface gleams with spotlessness. The removal of dust is also a means of social control, a way of keeping the lower classes in their place. For it was not only the furniture and the fittings that collected dust, but also the family silver, and even the books that lined the shelves. The silence of the evening is broken only by the ticking of the clock and the soft murmur of her voice as she gives her final instructions to the other servants. For tomorrow, the family will return, and the cycle of consumption, soiling, and then cleaning will begin anew. And she, the unassuming housekeeper, will be at the center of it all, ensuring that the wheels of domesticity keep turning smoothly, silently, and with unwavering precision. And what better way to assert one's social standing than by keeping these symbols of wealth and culture free from blemish? This is no mere cleaning task. It is a ritual of order, a constant battle against the encroaching chaos of dirt and grime. For in the Victorian era, dust was more than just an aesthetic nuisance. It was a harbinger of disease, a silent threat to the health of the family she serves. Her day begins before the sun crests over the rooftops, and she moves through her domain with a quiet grace, overseeing a symphony of domestic diligence. Her domain, much like the homes of the wealthy elite she often served, is a microcosm of Victorian. The wax melts in her hands, transforming into a liquid armor, protecting the wood from scratches and dents, but also adding a layer of sophistication. Each stroke of the cloth is a testament to her skill, a silent conversation between her hands and the wood's grain. The shine that she achieves is more than just a visual delight. It is a reflection of the values of the age, an era that prized hard work, discipline, and an almost militant approach to order. Within these four walls, she navigates a world of social hierarchy and unspoken rules. Herself a servant of the upper crust, she, in turn, manages a staff of lower servants, each with their specific duties and place in the grand scheme of domesticity. As the morning light streams in, she sets about her day, her first order of business, the removal of dust. But her efforts are not solely focused on aesthetics or health. With the dusting ritual completed, she turns her attention to polishing, and as the day wanes and the shadows lengthen, she surveys her work. The house is not just clean, it is a monument to cleanliness, a fortress against the encroaching grime of the city. In the realm of Victorian England, where societal norms intertwined with innovative cleaning practices, the art of housekeeping emerged as a pivotal aspect of daily life. But what truly defined Victorian housekeeping? How did it shape the lives of individuals during that era? And what can we learn from it today? Let's embark on a journey back in time to explore the fascinating world of Victorian housekeeping. The Victorian era, spanning the reign of Queen Victoria from 1837 to 1901, witnessed a significant transformation in societal values and domestic practices. During this period, the concept of the home underwent a dramatic shift, evolving into a sanctuary of order, cleanliness, and morality. During this era, employing servants, particularly women, was a common practice among middle and upper class families. Servants were considered essential to the smooth functioning of a household, allowing the upper echelons of society to maintain their homes and social standing. The dynamics between employers and employees, however, were often marked by rigid hierarchies and strict regulations. Servants were expected to adhere to a strict code of conduct, and their movements within the household were closely monitored. Often employed in middle and upper class households, the housekeeper held a position of great responsibility and authority. The Victorian obsession with cleanliness and order not only shaped the lives of those who aspired to it. The emphasis on cleanliness, orderliness, and morality in the domestic sphere played a significant role in shaping the lives of individuals during that time. By understanding the intricacies of Victorian housekeeping, we gain insight into the complexities of daily life, societal expectations, and the evolution of domestic practices. So let us continue to explore this fascinating topic and uncover the secrets of maintaining a Victorian household, but also had profound implications for the social structure and gender dynamics of the time. The era saw the introduction of new cleaning products such as disinfectants and which were used to maintain high standards of hygiene and eliminate unpleasant odors. Additionally, technological advancements such as the vacuum cleaner and the washing machine significantly impacted domestic cleaning practices, making them more efficient and less late. Moreover, the Victorian emphasis on cleanliness extended beyond mere aesthetics. It was deeply intertwined with the moral fabric of society. A clean and orderly home was seen as a reflection of a family's respectability and virtue. Dirt and disorder, on the other hand, were associated with immorality and social disgrace. This moral dimension of housekeeping placed a significant burden on individuals, particularly women, who were expected to maintain the sanctity of the domestic sphere. As the chief administrator of the domestic realm, she was tasked with the crucial duty of upholding the standards of cleanliness and orderliness that defined Victorian ideals. The Victorian housekeeper possessed a unique set of skills and qualities essential to the successful management of a household. Her role encompassed a wide range of responsibilities, including the training and supervision of domestic servants, the planning and execution of cleaning routines, and the efficient allocation of resources to ensure the smooth functioning of the household. Furthermore, the housekeeper was often entrusted with managing the household accounts, making her an integral part of the family's financial management. The ideal of domesticity became deeply ingrained in Victorian culture, emphasizing the importance of maintaining a meticulously clean and household as a reflection of one's social status and moral character. At the heart of this transformation stood the resolute figure of the Victorian housekeeper. One of the key aspects of Victorian housekeeping was the implementation of standardized cleaning routines and the use of innovative cleaning products and technologies. The role of domestic service in Victorian housekeeping cannot be overstated. As we delve deeper into the world of Victorian housekeeping, we uncover a complex interplay of societal norms, gender roles, and the pursuit of an idyllic domestic life. The tools and techniques of Victorian cleanliness. The art of keeping a clean house in the Victorian era was a complex, multifaceted endeavor that went far beyond our modern conceptions of domesticity. It was a world of intricate routines, specialized techniques, and a deep respect for the tools and materials used in the endless battle against dirt and disorder. Unlike the array of specialized cleaning products and appliances we have today, the Victorian housekeeper relied on a humble arsenal of brushes, brooms, and dusters, each chosen for a specific task and used with a methodical precision that speaks to a deep understanding of their craft. In the unseen world of Victorian housekeeping, the tools of the trade were remarkably simple, yet wielded with an almost artisanal skill. In many homes, water had to be drawn from wells or pumps, and then heated over fires and large copper boilers. Coal fires, essential for heating and cooking, produced a fine, pervasive black dust that settled on every surface. Daily dusting was not merely a superficial wipe. It was a thorough, systematic process. Furniture was moved, objects lifted, and every surface meticulously wiped down. Draperies were shaken, carpets beaten, and every nook and cranny explored for hidden dust bunnies. This continuous battle against the invisible particles of daily life was a defining feature of Victorian housekeeping. It was a quiet, relentless war, fought with simple tools and unwavering dedication, ensuring that the sanctuary of the Victorian home remained as pristine and orderly as the ideals it represented. The gentle, methodical movements, the quiet sounds of cleaning, all contributed to a pervasive sense of calm, a testament to the unseen labor that kept the Victorian world in its proper place. This hot water, combined with various forms of soap, was used for everything from scrubbing floors to washing clothes. Victorian soaps were typically made from animal fats and lye, producing a strong, alkaline solution, effective at cutting through grease and grime. For laundry, the process was particularly arduous. Clothes were soaked, scrubbed on washboards, boiled in copper coppers, rinsed multiple times, starched, and then ironed with heavy, heated irons. The rhythmic thud of the washboard, the hiss of steam from the iron, and the pervasive scent of lye soap would have filled the laundry room, a testament to the sheer physical effort involved in maintaining the household's linen. Their rhythmic swish and rustle would have been a familiar sound in the early morning hour. For more delicate surfaces, and for reaching into corners and crevices, a variety of brushes were employed. Soft bristle brushes for dusting furniture, stiffer brushes for scrubbing floors, and specialized brushes for cleaning grates and hearths. The duster, often a simple cloth made of soft cotton or flannel, was used with a practiced flick of the wrist, capturing dust rather than merely displacing it. Each tool had its place, and each movement was deliberate. The act of cleaning was not a hurried chore but a systematic process, a quiet dance between the cleaner and the dust, a testament to the belief that thoroughness was paramount. The faint scent of wood and natural fibers would have mingled with the lingering aromas of polish and soap, creating a unique olfactory signature of cleanliness. Brooms, often made from natural fibers like birch twigs or corn husks, were essential for sweeping floors, particularly in less formal areas and servants' quarters. The art of polishing wood, metal, and glass. Polishing was perhaps the most visible and time-consuming aspect of Victorian housekeeping, transforming dull surfaces into gleaming reflections of domestic order. Wood furniture, often dark and heavily carved, was polished with beeswax and turpentine, applied with soft cloths and buffed to a deep, lustrous shine. This was a labor of love, a rhythmic circular motion that brought out the natural beauty of the wood grain, filling the air with a clean, earthy scent. Metal, particularly silver and brass, demanded constant attention. Silverware, used daily in affluent homes, was polished with a mixture of whiting and ammonia, or specialized silver polish. The rhythmic rubbing, the gentle pressure, and the gradual emergence of a brilliant sheen were all part of the daily ritual. Brass, used for door fittings, lamps, and decorative objects, was polished with a paste of vinegar and salt, or commercial brass polishers, buffed until it gleamed like gold. The faint metallic temps in the air, combined with the scent of the polishers, would have been a constant reminder of the ongoing pursuit of perfection. Glass, from window panes to delicate crystal, was cleaned with water and vinegar, or a solution of ammonia, and buffed with soft cloths or chamois leather until it sparkled. The absence of streaks, the clarity of the reflection, was a point of pride for the housemaid, a silent testament to her diligence. The quiet squeak of cloth on glass, the gentle wiping motions, all contributed to the meditative rhythm of the cleaning process. Water, soap, and the laundry. Water was the most fundamental cleaning agent, but its acquisition and heating were often laboring. The battle against dust and soot. Dust and soot were the constant adversaries of the Victorian housekeeper. In the heart of London, nestled amidst the bustling city life, stood a grand Victorian house. Its red brick facade and bay windows proclaimed its grandeur even from the street. But what secrets did its interior hold? How did its inhabitants live their daily lives? Families could afford to employ a team of servants who would take care of all aspects of running the household, from cooking and cleaning to childcare and elder care. The staff consisted of a cook, a house parlor maid, a kitchen maid, a butler, a footman, a coachman, and a stable boy. They had to be non-confrontational and subservient to their employers. The air was filled with a scent of beeswax and polish as the house parlor maid meticulously dusted the furniture. Outside, the sounds of the city gradually faded away, replaced by the quiet murmur of conversation. The footman poured tea, his movements precise and efficient, while the butler arranged the biscuits on a silver tray. The family, well-dressed and groomed, engaged in polite conversation, their laughter echoing softly in the cavernous space. For them, this was more than just a house. It was a reflection of their status, their values, and their lifestyle. Any mistakes or accidents had to be dealt with quickly and quietly. The servants' quarters were separate from the family's living space, and they had little privacy or personal space. However, there was a hierarchy among the servants themselves, and the parlor maid and the butler were generally considered to be higher status than the kitchen staff. Despite the challenges, being a servant was a necessary evil for the smooth functioning of the household. Each member of the staff had their own duties and responsibilities, but together they ensured that the family lived a comfortable and luxurious life. And what role did the domestic staff play in maintaining the smooth functioning of such a grand household? The grand piano was brought out and a melody filled the room. The family, lost in the music, seemed oblivious to the unseen presence of the servants, who had ensured that their day went off without a hitch. The house, with its creaking floorboards and flickering gas lamps, bore witness to their lives, silently preserving the echoes of their laughter, conversations, and dreams. It was a place where time stood still, where traditions were upheld, and where the rhythm of life was dictated by the changing seasons in the family. For the family and their servants alike, this grand Victorian house was more than just a building. It was a world unto itself, a microcosm of society where duty, tradition, and service intertwined to create a tapestry of life in the heart of Victorian London. Step inside and you are transported to a world of elegance and tradition. The house was not just a dwelling, it was a microcosm of Victorian society, where class distinctions were clear and the roles were well defined. Upstairs, the family enjoyed their luxurious bedrooms, complete with ornate four-poster beds and dressing tables. Downstairs, the servants' quarters were more modest, but no less essential to the running of the household. The Victorian era was a time when having a domestic staff was a symbol of wealth and status. Their days began and ended with the family, catering to their every need and making sure their lives ran smoothly. The cook was responsible for planning and preparing all the family's meals. In a large Victorian house, this would have been a full-time job, requiring the help of at least one kitchen maid. The house parlor maid was responsible for cleaning and dusting all the rooms in the house, as well as doing the laundry and assisting the cook when needed. The butler was in charge of serving meals and looking after the dining room, as well as managing the other servants. The footman assisted the butler and also served as the family's personal servant, running errands and helping with dressing. The coachman drove the family's carriage, and the stable boy looked after the horses. But it wasn't just about carrying out tasks. Servants were expected to be discreet, quiet, and invisible. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the room, the family gathered in the drawing room. As the evening deepened, the drawing room became a stage for their social interactions, a place where relationships were forged and maintained. The housekeeper is undoubtedly one of the most important figures in any Victorian household, especially among the upper and upper middle classes. But what were the day-to-day tasks involved in this profession? What kind of skills and qualities did a good housekeeper need to succeed? And how much did this position pay? Although competence in cooking, cleaning, and childcare was important, it was the soft skills that truly set a good housekeeper apart. First and foremost, a successful housekeeper was an excellent manager. She was responsible for the work of several servants, and had to ensure that each person was performing their duties efficiently and to the highest standard. Her status was symbolized by a specific uniform, a simple yet powerful emblem of her authority and dedication. Unlike the more varied and sometimes elaborate uniforms of other servants, the housekeeper's attire was standardized and instantly recognizable. This unassuming book was the financial backbone of the household, meticulously recording every expense. No matter how small, each expenditure was dutifully noted in the ledger book. It was a painstaking process that demanded concentration and accuracy. On average, however, housekeepers could expect to earn a yearly salary ranging from £30 to £100. At the lower end of the spectrum, less experienced housekeepers, or those working in smaller households, might earn around £30 to £50 per year. This would have been enough to support a single woman modestly or to provide for a small family's basic needs. On the higher end, highly skilled and sought-after housekeepers, especially those employed by wealthy families, could earn up to £100 or more annually. Such high earnings reflected the crucial role these women played in maintaining the smooth functioning of elite Victorian households. In addition to their salary, housekeepers often received other forms of compensation, including food, clothing, and lodging. This was particularly common among upper-middle-class and aristocratic families who could afford to provide better living conditions for their staff. The value of these benefits varied, but they could make a significant contribution to a housekeeper's overall income and quality of life. Despite the wide range of salaries and benefits, it's important to note that the financial compensation of housekeepers during the Victorian era was not substantial. Their work, which often involved long hours, significant physical and emotional labor, and a high degree of responsibility, was not always fairly rewarded financially. Nonetheless, the salary of a housekeeper was generally higher than those of other domestic servants, such as maids or footmen, recognizing their pivotal role in managing the household. Any mistake could throw off the entire record and lead to confusion. Beyond recording expenses, the housekeeper also played a vital role in managing the household budget. She was acutely aware of the cost of running a large household and worked tirelessly to keep expenses under control. This involved making strategic decisions about provisioning, negotiating with suppliers, and monitoring the use of resources throughout the house. The ledger book was not just a record of past expenses, it was also a tool for future planning. The housekeeper used it to track seasonal variations in costs, to identify areas where expenses could be trimmed, and to prepare for unexpected costs associated with maintaining a large estate. Furthermore, the housekeeper's financial acumen extended to the management of household assets. She was responsible for keeping track of valuable items, not just for insurance purposes, but also to ensure that they were properly stored and maintained. This included overseeing repairs, negotiating with tradespeople, and making sure that the household's assets were used efficiently. the housekeeper's attention to detail, her commitment to accuracy, and her ability to manage both large and small tasks with equal diligence made her the ideal custodian of the household as financial records. In the eyes of Victorian society, the diligent management of household accounts was not just a necessary chore, it was a reflection of the family's respectability, their sense of order, and their commitment to fiscal responsibility. The ledger book was more than just a bookkeeping tool. It was a testament to the Victorian obsession with order, accuracy, and control. Each entry in the book was a tiny data point contributing to a larger picture of the householder's financial health. The housekeeper, with her sharp eye for detail and her commitment to efficiency, was the ideal person to shoulder this responsibility. Typically, she wore a black dress with a white apron and a white cap. This uniform was not merely a garment, but a visual representation of her role and responsibilities. The color black signified solemnity, seriousness, and authority, qualities that were highly valued in a housekeeper. Black was also the color of mourning in Victorian times, and it was worn by those in positions of leadership and responsibility. By extension, the housekeeper, responsible for maintaining order and propriety in the household, was also cloaked in black. The white apron and cap, on the other hand, represented cleanliness, purity, and efficiency, attributes that were synonymous with a well-run household. The white apron was not just symbolic, it was also practical, serving as a barrier between her clothes and the grime and dirt that could be encountered while performing her duties. The white cap perched atop her head was a symbol of her meticulous nature, her ability to keep everything in its place, both literally and figuratively. In essence, the housekeeper's uniform was a visual testimony to her commitment, her reliability, and her unwavering pursuit of perfection in the realm of domestic management. It was a silent declaration to all who saw it: do not question authority. I am here to maintain order and ensure the smooth functioning of this household. This required a firm but fair approach, coupled with the ability to inspire loyalty and respect from her staff. A good housekeeper understood the importance of delegation, knowing the strengths of each servant and assigning tasks accordingly. At the same time, she was also a natural leader, setting the pace and standards for the entire household. Her energy and enthusiasm were contagious, motivating her staff to do their best. However, behind the scenes, orchestrating the seamless functioning of the household, was a figure who often remained unsung: the housekeeper. She had to be able to articulate her expectations clearly and also listen to the concerns of her staff. Open communication fostered a positive work environment and also helped improve. Additionally, a successful housekeeper was adept at handling conflict. Disagreements among servants were not uncommon, and it was the housekeeper's duty to mediate and find amicable solutions. Patience, diplomacy, and a sense of fairness were crucial in these situations. Moreover, a good housekeeper was a master organizer. She had to plan ahead, anticipate needs, and coordinate the activities of the servants to ensure the smooth functioning of the household. Strong time management skills and the ability to multitask were essential. Finally, a good housekeeper was a stickler for detail. From the placement of furniture to the cleanliness of the silver, everything had to be in its place. She understood that it was these little things that made a house a home: meticulous attention to detail, and an unwavering commitment to the Victorian ideal of domestic order. The housekeeper's position was one of considerable trust and respect. She reported directly to the lady of the house, and in many ways she was the lady's proxy in the daily management of the home. While the lady of the house focused on the social and ceremonial aspects of running a household, the housekeeper managed the practicalities, ensuring that everything ran like clockwork. This included overseeing the preparation of meals, managing the staff, maintaining the property, and keeping track of expenses. It was a demanding role, requiring a rare combination of skills and qualities. In essence, the housekeeper was the matron of the domestic sphere, the unseen commander of the silent army of servants. Her role went beyond mere domestic help. She was the manager, the organizer, the enforcer of standards, and often the conscience of the household. Her influence, though subtle, was profound. In the social hierarchy of Victorian England, the lady of the house held a position of prominence, presiding over her domestic realm with grace and dignity. Her domain was the smooth, efficient, and spotless operation of the entire household, a complex enterprise that demanded a unique blend of managerial skill, the perfect housekeeper, skills, and qualities. To be a successful housekeeper, one needed more than just domestic skills. Furthermore, a good housekeeper possessed strong communication skills. In the grand hierarchy of Victorian household staff, The housekeeper occupied a unique position, second only to the lady of the house. Household accounts and the ledger book. A crucial aspect of the housekeeper's responsibilities lay in her role as the guardian of household accounts and the keeper of the ledger book. Her duties began with a careful recording of daily expenses, whether it was the cost of fresh provisions from the market, the price of a new carpet, or the wages of a servant. The housekeeper's salary. Salaries for housekeepers during the Victorian era varied widely depending on factors such as their experience, the size of the household they managed, and the social status of their employers. Let's talk about the hidden lives of housemaids. Daily toil and small joy. Their lives were a relentless cycle of early starts, physical labor, and an endless array of tasks, often performed in silence and with meticulous attention to detail. Their first duties involved lighting fires in the kitchen and drawing rooms, carrying hot water to the family's bedrooms, and emptying chamber pots, carrying heavy buckets of water up and down stairs, scrubbing floors on hands and knees, beating carpets outdoors, and endlessly polishing furniture and silver required considerable strength and stamina. The Victorian era was a time when cleanliness and order were highly valued, and housemaids played a crucial role in maintaining these standards. Each room had its own schedule for cleaning, and each task had its own set of procedures. They might be called upon to run errands, such as taking items to the family's tailor or delivering messages to neighboring houses. During the busy Christmas season, they might help decorate the house and prepare for large parties. The camaraderie within the servants' hall, the shared laughter over a simple meal, or the quiet moments of conversation after the family had retired for the night provided much-needed relief. They might exchange stories, share letters from home, or simply enjoy a moment of quiet companionship. Their lives, though hidden from the public eye, were rich with their own experiences, hopes, and dreams. Some housemaids might save their wages to send home to their families. Others might dream of marrying and establishing their own homes, and a few might even aspire to rise through the ranks of domestic service to become housekeepers themselves. They also played a vital role in caring for children, from helping with bath time to supervising their play, a gentle testament to the dignity of labor and the resilience of the human spirit. In a sense, housemaids were like the glue that held the household together, their presence felt in every room, their efforts evident in every aspect of domestic life. For example, the drawing room, considered the most important room in the house, might be cleaned every day, while the dining room and bedrooms were cleaned every other day. Their work, though essential, was not seen as valuable or worthy of recognition. They were paid meager wages, and their living conditions were often cramped and uncomfortable. But they persevered, driven by a sense of duty, the need for financial security, and the hope of a better future. Bathrooms and kitchens, due to their association with dirt and germs, were cleaned more frequently. The housemaids followed these routines with precision, ensuring that every surface was spotless and every object was in its proper place. This attention to detail extended to the smallest of tasks, such as dusting a mantelpiece or polishing a set of candlesticks. No surface was too high or too low, no corner too obscure for their diligent efforts. Their hands would often be chapped and raw from harsh soaps and constant immersion in water. In a society where social status was often displayed through the grandeur of one's home, housemaids were the unsung heroes who made this possible. Their work was essential in creating an environment that was not only clean but also spoke of the family's wealth and refinement. The work was repetitive, often monotonous, yet it demanded unwavering attention to detail. A missed speck of dust, a smudge on a mirror, or a dull piece of silver would not escape the housekeeper's keen eye. Their uniform, typically a simple cotton dress with a white apron and cap, was practical but offered little comfort. Their meals were often eaten in the servants' hall, simple and hearty, designed to provide sustenance for their physically demanding work. The hierarchy within the servants' hall was strict, with senior housemaids overseeing junior ones, and everyone answering to the housekeeper. This was followed by a thorough cleaning of the public rooms before the family awoke, sweeping, dusting, and polishing. The rhythmic swish of brooms, the quiet clatter of buckets, and the soft sounds of scrubbing would fill the house in the quiet hours, a constant hum of unseen activity. For many young women, domestic service was one of the few avenues for employment, offering a roof over their heads, food, and a small wage, but at the cost of personal freedom and often grueling work. The day of a housemaid began before dawn, typically around 5 or 6 a.m. The physical demands of a housemaid's life were immense. Despite the challenges they faced, housemaids found solace in the structure and routine of their work. The pursuit of spotlessness was not just about aesthetics, It was a reflection of the values of the time. In addition to their regular duties, housemaids were also responsible for a variety of other tasks. Yet despite their central role, housemaids remained largely invisible. Small joys and hidden lives despite the arduous nature of their work. Housemaids found small joys and moments of respite. The quiet rhythm of their daily toil, the steady movements of their hands, and their unwavering dedication to the pursuit of order were the unseen foundation upon which the grandeur of the Victorian home was built. Today, we are transported back to the Victorian era, a time when the culinary arts were elevated to a fine art form, and the kitchen became the true heart of the household. The Victorian kitchen, a symphony of sustenance. As we pull back the heavy curtains of the Victorian parlor, our senses are immediately engaged by the tantalizing aroma wafting from below stairs. The Victorian kitchen, a realm largely unseen by the privileged family residing above, was where the magic of sustenance was concocted. But this was no mere cooking space. It was a carefully orchestrated symphony of flavors, textures, and techniques that fueled the very essence of Victorian living. Tucked away below stairs, veiled from the prying eyes of society, existed the kitchen, a realm unto itself. The soft rumble of the kitchen range, stoked with glowing embers, provides a constant bass note, a reassuring backdrop to the entire orchestra. Above this, the counter-melodies played by the rhythmic clatter of pots and pans as they are brought into harmony on the range. The cook, the undisputed prima ballerina of this domestic stage, glides through her domain with practiced ease. Her steps a testament to years of experience, are sure and steady, never wasting a movement, always maximizing efficiency. Each dish prepared, each sauce simmered, each pastry baked carried its own message. A hearty stew might signify a Sunday well spent, while the delicate aroma of lavender shortbread could signal a tea-time treat. At the center of this domestic drama is the cook, a role that demanded not only culinary skill, but also authority and resolve. With experience and expertise, she was the undisputed leader of the kitchen, orchestrating the efforts of her assistants and ensuring that each dish met the exacting standards of the household. It was here, removed from the drawing rooms and dining halls, that the true essence of family life was nurtured. The kitchen was the hub of activity, not only for the household staff, but for the family as well. It was here that the children gathered before departing for school, eager for a quick word with their parents or a bite of their mother's freshly baked bread. It was here that the father might join his family for an early breakfast, catching up on the news of the day while the cook prepared his favorite dish. The concept of an eat-in kitchen, once a luxury reserved for the working classes, has now become a highly sought-after feature in modern homes. The idea of gathering around a kitchen island or table for casual meals or socializing speaks to the enduring appeal of the kitchen as a central gathering space. Furthermore, the resurgence of cooking as a hobby and the emphasis on locally sourced, fresh ingredients echo the dedication to quality and craftsmanship that defined the Victorian cook's art. In a world where convenience often overshadows quality, the Victorian kitchen serves as a reminder of the enduring value of culinary tradition and the importance of the kitchen as the heart of the home. And it was here, in this humble setting, that family meals were shared, fostering bonds that transcended the rigid etiquette of the drawing room. It was in this realm that the true magic of Victorian life was created. The Victorian kitchen, a place of fire and flavor, of tireless effort and remarkable skill, was the true engine of Victorian life, fueling not only the bodies, but also the social and emotional landscape of the era. In a paradoxical twist, the kitchen, often viewed as the domain of domestic drudgery, became the crucible in which the family's most cherished memories were forged. Supporting the cook were the kitchen maids and scullery maids, whose roles were essential to the smooth functioning of the kitchen. The kitchen maids, often younger and more aspirational, assisted with food preparation, learning the intricacies of Victorian cuisine under the watchful eye of the cook. Depending on the size of the household and the status of the family, kitchens could vary significantly. In larger households, the kitchen might have been a vast, bustling space with multiple stations for food preparation, each overseen by a specialist cook. In smaller homes, the kitchen might have been more modest, with a single range and a smaller staff, yet no less dedicated in their effort. Additionally, the ethnic diversity of the Victorian era gave rise to a multitude of culinary traditions within kitchens. Irish families might have enjoyed the savory aromas of bacon and cabbage, while Italian immigrants might have filled their kitchens with the fragrant spices of tomato sauce and garlic. Regardless of size or cultural influence, each kitchen was a microcosm of Victorian life, reflecting the unique circumstances and traditions of the families they served. Meanwhile, the scullery maids, typically older and more seasoned domestic workers, were responsible for the more menial tasks, such as washing dishes and cleaning equipment. Despite the differences in their roles, each member of the kitchen staff was vital to the other, forming a cohesive unit that kept the culinary engine of the Victorian household well-oiled. Together, this ensemble cast brought the kitchen to life, infusing it with the energy and expertise that made it the beating heart of Victorian domesticity. Beyond these literal meanings, food became a vehicle for communicating emotions, relationships, and social standing. The presentation of a dish, its choice of ingredients, and even the style of its preparation, all spoke volumes about the culinary prowess of the cook and the status of the household. Within this elaborate system of flavors, the cook and her assistants engaged in a silent dialogue, responding to the needs, preferences, and even the moods of the family above. In this way, the Victorian kitchen became more than just a place of nourishment. It was a communicator of culture, a transmitter of family dynamics, and a silent storyteller of the Victorian era. Around her, the kitchen maids and scullery maids performed their own intricate routines, each movement designed not only to serve a practical purpose, but also to fit seamlessly into the larger whole. The measured sway of a whisk as eggs are beaten, the precise cut of a knife as vegetables are diced, and the deft maneuver of a ladle as soup is ladled all speak to the silent language of the kitchen, a language understood by those who work in its warm embrace. It's a carefully orchestrated dance, a tribute to the unseen order that governs this world below stairs. The gentle sizzle of oil in a pan or the contented gurgle of a simmering stew adds its own soothing tune. And then there are the voices, the human instruments of this domestic orchestra. The calm cadence of the cook's instructions, the cheerful banter of the kitchen maids as they work, and the occasional burst of laughter that echoes through the room like a cymbal crash, all contribute to the unique composition that is the sound of the Victorian kitchen. This harmonious blend of sounds not only sets the stage for the drama of dish preparation, but also speaks to the very heart of Victorian life, where domesticity was not merely a duty, but a carefully choreographed performance. Here, amidst the gleaming copper pots and the hiss of the coal-fired range, life was lived at a more intimate, more visceral level. For the kitchen was not just a room, it was a microcosm of Victorian life, complete with its own hierarchy, rituals and rhythms, a world apart. The kitchen as a separate realm. Imagine a world distinct from the refined drawing rooms and hushed hallways of the Victorian mansion. At the epicenter of this domestic universe stood the cook, a figure of both authority and culinary finesse. Her domain was one of both fire and flavor, where raw ingredients were lovingly coaxed into exquisite dishes that would grace the family's table. Behind her, a well-rehearsed choreography of activity unfolded. Kitchen maids and scullery maids moved with practiced ease, each contributing their own unique step to this intricate dance of dish preparation and domesticity. Together, they formed an unseen ensemble, the unsung heroines of the Victorian home, who ensured that the wheels of sustenance never ceased to turn. The orchestra of sounds. The music of the kitchen. As we step further into the Victorian kitchen, our ears are treated to a symphony of sounds that underscore the ceaseless activity within. The choreography of movement. A dance of efficiency. Within the confines of the Victorian kitchen, a ballet of controlled movements unfolds. A choreography of efficiency born out of necessity and refined by tradition. The language of flavors. Communicating through cuisine. In the Victorian kitchen, communication took on a unique dimension, transcending the spoken word and finding expression in the language of flavors. The cast of characters, the people who made the kitchen come alive. Amidst the flurry of activity in the Victorian kitchen, a diverse cast of characters comes to life, the heart of the household. The significance of the kitchen. In the grand hierarchy of the Victorian home, the kitchen held a unique position. The secret kitchens, a glimpse into domestic development. While the grandeur of the Victorian kitchen has captured our imagination, it is important to remember that not all kitchens were created equal. The laundry room, that magical place where dirty clothes turn into freshly laundered garments, and where the faint scent of lavender lingers in the air. Just kidding. Let's rewind a bit, because the laundry room in Victorian times was not your average laundry room. No. It was a lot more like a pressure cooker than a place that smelled like fresh laundry. They are joined by other servants like the scullery maids or junior housemaids, who lend a hand with the chores. Their day begins bright and early, as does the fire under the large copper boilers, or coppers, as they are affectionately called, filled with water that needs to be heated for the day's washing. Picture this. It's laundry day in a typical Victorian household. The family has spent the week creating a mountain of dirty laundry, which is now piled up and ready to be tackled. Multiply that by the number of loads needed to clean for an entire family, and you begin to understand the scale of the undertaking. The soiled water is drained and replaced with clean water, and the process of rinsing is repeated several times to ensure that all traces of soap and dirt are removed. Any leftover soap residue could irritate the skin or cause the fabrics to yellow, so it's crucial to get it right. The laundry room, often located in the basement or in a separate outbuilding, is about to come alive with the sounds and smells of hard work. With the water somewhat contained, it's time for the finishing touches. The once dirty pile of clothes has now become a mountain of freshly laundered garments, ready to be put away and worn once again. A true testament to the hard-working individuals who made it happen. But let's be honest, the only thing that looks cleaner is the laundry maid's back, which is now bent from a day of hard work. Many items, especially collars, cuffs, and delicate linens, are starched to give them a crisp, fresh look and help them resist future dirt and grime. This is where the laundry maid's skills really shine. Using heavy, solid irons heated on the kitchen range or a special ironing stove, they press out any remaining wrinkles and make the clothes look their best. The irons must be constantly rotated to ensure an even heat, and the laundry maid must be quick and careful to avoid burning the fabric. The laundry maid carefully applies the starch, ensuring an even coating that will make the clothes look their best when they are pressed. Not only does this help clean the clothes, but it also serves as a way to sterilize them and whiten them. If the weather is good, the laundry maids will hang the clothes on lines outside. Otherwise, they will dry in a drying room, often heated by the same fires used to heat the coppers. The water's kept at a rolling boil, and the laundry maids use a wooden dolly or passer to agitate the water and ensure that the clothes are thoroughly cleaned. This is no easy task, considering the amount of clothing and linen used in a household of this size. Then comes the soaking. Clothes are submerged in cold water overnight to help loosen any dirt or grime. Now the real work begins. First up, we have the laundry maids, those hard-working individuals whose job it was to keep the family's clothing and linens clean. As the water boils, the laundry maids sort through the piles of clothing, separating the whites from the colors and the delicate fabrics from the sturdier items. Each garment is lovingly scrubbed on a washboard, a wooden frame with a corrugated surface that helps create friction and dislodge any remaining debris. The sound of the washboard can only be described as rhythmic torture. Imagine the back and forth motion of scrubbing clothes all day long. By the end of the day, the laundry maid's back is probably aching in unison with the washboard. After scrubbing, the clothes are boiled in the coppers with a strong solution of lye soap. Now, take a moment to appreciate the effort that goes into cleaning just one load of laundry. Once the clothes have been boiled, it's time for rinse. Next, the water is drained once again, and the laundry maids wring out the excess water by hand or with a mangle, a device with rollers that squeezes out the water. With the clothes starched, it's time to hang them out to dry. The final step is ironing, and there you have it. After hours of labor, the laundry is complete. However, for a wealthy household, the gardens and grounds surrounding the residence were considered an integral extension of this domestic domain. The head gardener was a master of his craft, combining extensive knowledge of horticulture, landscape design, and the latest botanical trends to create and maintain these verdants. His responsibilities were vast, from planning the layout of the gardens to selecting the plants and managing his team to ensuring that the grounds were always presented in impeccable condition. Weeding was a never-ending battle against the encroachment of wildness, performed with meticulous care to keep flower beds and pathways pristine. The gardener's world was filled with the sights, sounds, and smells that many of us associate with nature's embrace. The former, with its exotic blooms and humid air, would release a heady mix of aromas that mingled with the scent of roses and freshly turned soil. Meanwhile, the kitchen garden, a riot of colors and textures, would offer its own unique bouquet, a blend of herbs, ripening tomatoes, and freshly picked cucumbers, a testament to the quiet dedication of those who ensured that nature's wildness was kept at bay, replaced by the perfect symmetry of trimmed hedges and blooming flower beds. Their work, though often overlooked, was fundamental to the Victorian lifestyle, adding to the allure of a bygone era when gardens were not just places of leisure, but carefully crafted works of art. These scents, though subtle to our modern sensibilities, were integral to the Victorian experience, connecting the indoors with the outdoors in a sensory symphony. The quiet drip of a garden fountain, the gentle rustle of leaves being raked, The soft murmur of a nearby stream and the distant cawing of crows would create a harmonious backdrop to their labor. The scent of freshly cut grass, damp earth and blooming flowers would mingle, creating a rich, natural perfume that permeated the outdoor spaces. Pruning shrubs and trees was an art form, requiring an understanding of the plant's nature and the ability to shape them to achieve desired forms while promoting healthy growth. Mowing the lawns, before the advent of motorized mowers, was a laborious task performed with hand-pushed machines. It required considerable strength and a steady pace to achieve the perfectly striped lawns, so characteristic of the era. Paths had to be swept, gravel raked, and borders edged with precision. Together, these tasks formed the backbone of the gardener's daily routine. They were not just aesthetic, but carefully cultivated representations of the family's refined taste and unwavering commitment to order and control. Each area demanded specific care and attention, reflecting the Victorian fascination with botany and their desire to control and shape nature to human will. The care of these outdoor spaces was entrusted to a dedicated team of gardeners, led by the esteemed head gardener. It was an aesthetic endeavor, a way to tame and control nature to suit human sensibilities. The garden was a carefully crafted tableau, each plant selected not just for its beauty, but for its ability to convey a specific message or evoke a particular emotion. It was a reflection of the family's social standing and cultural interests, a silent testament to the Victorian obsession with order and refinement. In the heart of the bustling city, tucked away behind high walls and manicured hedges, lies a sprawling Victorian residence. Its intricate architecture and polished facade hint at the wealth and status enjoyed by its inhabitant, but it's the expansive grounds surrounding the house that truly set it apart. Here, amidst the vibrant flower beds and neatly trimmed hedges, lies a world of unseen labor. Much of the action in a Victorian house revolved around the domestic sphere within the four walls of the home. In larger estates, a head gardener presided over a team of laborers and sometimes even specialized staff for greenhouses or orchards. The Victorian garden was a complex and varied landscape, often featuring a mix of formal parterres with their geometric precision, rambling rose gardens, manicured lawns, kitchen gardens providing fresh produce, and sometimes even exotic conservatories filled with lush tropical foliage. The daily routine of a gardener was one of constant physical toil, but the work was not solely about physical exertion. It demanded patience, skill, and an intimate knowledge of plants. The Victorian greenhouse and kitchen garden added another layer to this fragrant tapestry. For the Victorians, the act of gardening was more than just a means of cultivating plants. Behind the carefully manicured facade of the Victorian garden lay a world of unseen labor. The pervasive presence of germs, while invisible to the naked eye, has a profound impact on our daily lives. From the simplest task of shaking hands to the everyday activity of using public transportation, we are constantly navigating a microscopic world that can either enhance or threaten our health. In this context, understanding how past societies coped with the unseen world of germs provides a fascinating glimpse into the evolution of human behavior and the measures we've taken to ensure our survival and well-being, and we'll be discussing how these practices evolved over time, laying the groundwork for modern-day hygiene standards. The latter half of the 19th century saw significant advancements in scientific knowledge, particularly in the understanding of germs and disease, and sometimes even carbolic acid, particularly in areas prone to dampness or odors, such as sculleries, laundries, and privies. Mice, rats, flies, and other insects were common nuisances, and housekeepers employed various methods to keep them at bay, from traps and poisons to meticulous cleanliness and sealing up entry points. The quiet vigilance against these unwanted intruders was a constant, unseen aspect of maintaining a hygienic home. These strong-smelling agents were believed to purify the air and surfaces, contributing to a healthier environment. Linens were changed frequently, surfaces disinfected, and ventilation maximized. Your support helps bring these historical insights to a wider audience. The quiet acts of airing rooms, managing waste, disinfecting surfaces, and controlling pests were a testament to their commitment to well-being. These practices not only shaped the domestic sphere, but also laid the foundation for modern hygiene standards, influencing the design of homes, public health policies, and our everyday lives. Nurses and housemaids attending to the sick would take extra precautions to prevent the spread of disease, often wearing special aprons and washing their hands meticulously. Their quiet battles against disease and decay serve as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of the seemingly small things like fresh air, clean water, and a well-ordered home. The quiet, somber atmosphere of the sick room, punctuated by the gentle sounds of care and the faint scent of disinfectants, highlighted the serious commitment to health within the Victorian home. The sharp, clean scent of these disinfectants would have been a distinct aroma in certain parts of the house. Though germ theory was still developing, its influence began to subtly reshape the practices of household cleanliness. While not all Victorian homes had indoor plumbing, those that did featured elaborate systems for bringing in fresh water and disposing of wastewater. Scullery maids were responsible for ensuring that sinks and drains were kept clean and free of blockages. Chamber pots were emptied and cleaned daily, and their contents disposed of in cesspits, or, in more advanced systems, through sewers. For bathing, hot water was brought to individual rooms, and tubs were often portable. The act of bathing, while not a daily ritual for everyone, was increasingly seen as important for personal cleanliness. The quiet splash of water, the gentle lathering of soap, and the refreshing sensation of cleanliness contributed to a sense of well-being and order. While much of Victorian housekeeping focused on visible cleanliness, the absence of dust, the gleam of polish, the crispness of linen, there was a growing, albeit often rudimentary, understanding of hygiene and sanitation. One of the key tenets of Victorian hygiene was the importance of fresh air and ventilation. It was believed that bad air or miasma carried disease, and therefore rooms were to be aired out regularly. Windows were opened, even in cold weather, to allow fresh air to circulate. This practice, while not fully understanding the microscopic mechanisms, intuitively contributed to a healthier indoor environment by reducing airborne pathogens and improving air quality. The quiet whoosh of fresh air entering a room, the gentle rustle of curtains, and the subtle change in atmosphere would have been a familiar part of the daily routine. Water and waste management was another critical aspect of household hygiene. Disinfection, though not understood in modern terms, was practiced through the liberal use of strong soaps. Pest control was also an ongoing battle. In times of illness, the sick room became a focal point of intense hygiene. Though the Victorians did not fully comprehend the complexities of germ theory, their dedication to cleanliness and sanitation created healthier living environments. In the grand theatre of the Victorian era, where societal norms were as rigid as the starched collars of the age, the housewife played the role of the unseen manager and overseer, while the daily toil of housekeeping was largely delegated to a team of domestic servants. The ultimate responsibility for the smooth and orderly running of the household rested upon her shoulders. Her domain, the domestic interior, was both a stage and a battleground, where she, the Victorian housewife, was the reigning monarch. The lady of the house, as she was often addressed, was a figure of considerable importance and influence. While her husband might have been the breadwinner, it was she who managed the household budget, ensuring that the family lived within its means. This required not just a sound understanding of arithmetic, but also a keen eye for detail and an awareness of market prices. The budgets, account books, and ledgers lay silent testimony to her role as financial manager, each page a chronicle of her efforts to balance the scales of domestic economy. Her role was far from the caricature of a woman fainting at the sight of blood or cowering in the face of adversity. This meant coordinating with the cook to prepare suitable menus, the housemaids to ensure impeccable presentation, and the butler to guarantee seamless service. Herself a master of the domestic arts, she was the standard by which all others in the household were measured. The quiet rustle of her skirts as she inspected a room, or the soft lilt of her voice as she directed a servant, were all part of the performance that was her daily life. Her social calendar was as demanding as her domestic duties, requiring as it did careful planning and precise execution. The relentless pursuit of domestic perfection was often an unattainable ideal, and the pressure to maintain it could be stifling. But through it all, she remained the anchor of the household, her quiet dedication and tireless efforts binding together the disparate threads of family life. She was the unseen manager, the quiet overseer, the heart and soul of the Victorian home. And in the grand theatre of the times, her role, though often uncredited, was nothing short of heroic, and even influencing the type of servant she could employ. Moreover, her role was deeply entwined with the prevailing gender norms of the time. Her sphere of influence was primarily domestic, and any public engagement was often seen as a deviation from this ideal. Yet within the domestic sphere, her power was considerable. She set the standards for the household, often inspecting rooms, reviewing menus, and making sure that the staff adhered to her vision of order and comfort. Her word, though often unspoken, was law. The servants, from the butler to the house parlor maid, were there to execute her will, turning her implicit directives into daily routines. No, she was the very embodiment of the ideal of true womanhood, combining the qualities of piety, purity, domesticity, and submission with an iron will and an astute business sense. Her status was not merely defined by her position in the family structure, but also by her ability to maintain the standards of her home. The cleanliness of the house, the quality of the food, and the impeccable manners of her children were all a reflection of her competence and worth as a member of society. In a system that placed a premium on appearances, she was the chief architect of her home's public image. Her authority, however, was rarely absolute. The constraints of a rigid class system limited her interactions, dictating who she could befriend, where she could socialize. She was also the gatekeeper of the family's finances. Furthermore, she was the social arbiter of the household, hosting dinner parties, afternoon teas, and other engagements that were critical to maintaining the family's social standing. Yet, despite these responsibilities, the Victorian housewife was expected to be the embodiment of feminine grace and gentility. The role of the Victorian housewife was not without its burdens. In the hushed halls of history, there are stories that unfold, not in the roar of empires, but in the soft echoes of everyday life. This is one such tale. In the heart of London, nestled between bustling streets and vibrant markets, stood a grand residence, not of royalty, but of the middle class, a microcosm of Victorian life. Their days began before the sun, with the ritualistic making of beds, the starched linen, a testament to their meticulous nature. As the day progressed, they tackled the silent invaders of dust, wielding feather dusters like weapons against invisible foes. Each room, each piece of furniture had its place in the intricate dance of cleaning, a choreography learned and followed religiously. These women, often young and with limited prospects, found a place, however modest, in the social hierarchy. Their actions, though unnoticed by most, were the backbone of the household's smooth functioning. They were the unsung heroines of the Victorian era, their names lost to time, their faces blurred in the sepia tones of history books. Their story is a reminder that some of the most important work is done not in the halls of power, but in the humble corners of daily life. Their legacy lives on in the hearts of every homemaker, in the warmth of every shared meal, and in the comforting embrace of a clean, well-ordered home. Yet their spirit lingers in the preserved laces and starched collars of museum pieces. Their world was confined within the four walls of the house, yet their spirits soared with the rising sun, ready to embrace another day of diligent work. Their story is a testament to the fact that true fulfillment is unalways found in the glare of the spotlight, but in the gentle glow of a well-kept hearth. The drawing room, with its plush carpets and gleaming surfaces, was a particular point of pride, for here, the house's reputation was made or marred in the eyes of visitors. Inside its walls, a drama of domesticity played out, not of grand gestures, but of quiet diligence. Our story revolves around the unseen hands that kept this home running, the housemaids. In the rigid hierarchy of Victorian England, the housemaid held a pivotal yet often overlooked position. Beyond the realm of dusting, housemaids were the alchemists of the kitchen, transforming raw ingredients into culinary delights for their employers. Their domain, the heart of the home, where the aromas of spices and the symphony of sizzling pans were their daily lullaby. Floors, once pristine, now bore the battle scars of the day. Armed with their trusty brushes and cloths, they waged war on every speck of dirt, every stray hair, restoring order to the domain they so carefully maintained. They kneaded dough, stirred sauces, and baked bread, their hands becoming extensions of the recipes they followed. Each garment, a precious commodity, was treated with respect, scrubbed, rinsed, and starched, ensuring that when they returned to their owners, they did so in pristine condition. Bearing witness to the quiet dignity of their labors, the rhythmic clatter of dishes was their accompaniment, and the warmth of the oven, their quiet reward. As the afternoon waned, the housemaids turned their attention to the eternal enemy of grime, the laundry, a monumental task. demanded their utmost care and patience. But the story of the housemaid is not just about chores and routines. It's a narrative of resilience, of quiet strength. They were the architects of order in a world that valued neatness and decorum. In a world that measured success in boardroom deals and industrial revolutions, these women found contentment in the quiet corners of well-polished homes. And as the final curtains fall on this episode, let us remember the quiet strength, the gentle perseverance of the housemaids of Victorian England. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you really enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. It's totally free and helps my channel grow. Now, before I leave you for the night, I just want to say one more time, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day tomorrow. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you in the next video. So if you want to see a new video from me every single day, that's where I'm at. Good night, alright. I'm rambling now. Just hit the subscribe button and I promise I will not disappoint you. Thank you so much for watching.